Hello everybody, and welcome back to more Star Wars stuff, but this time we're on the PTS with patch 2.7, and we're going to be checking out Assault on Tython and the other new flashpoint added, which is one for Korriban. The thing with this, though, we're only going to be checking out Assault on Tython this one. I'm going to try to avoid any spoilers at all, just in case you want to be able to see the story for yourself, and I totally understand that. However, I will give you a basic rundown on the story, so if you don't want to hear it, then just skip ahead like a minute. But the basic rundown is that the Empire and the Republic have gone back to war, and they've attacked each other. So the Empire attacks Tython and sacks the Jedi Temple, and the Republic attacks Korriban and takes over the Sith Academy. At first glance, that's really kind of cool. Actually, I really liked it. In fact, we'll talk more about this flashpoint specifically here in a minute, but with that being said, I think the story element has a weak point to it, which is the fact that they attack each other at the same time. Like, the Empire attacks Tython and the Republic attacks Korriban, and both of them are like, oh no, we attacked each other at the same time. It's like that wouldn't happen in war, let's be honest. They wouldn't attack each other at the same time. That was there for a gameplay mechanic to explain why the Empire and the Republic are both using the same flashpoints. That's pretty much what that is. Because on, the other side, when you go to do the Korriban one for the Empire, you go to switch over to kick the Republic out. And from what I've heard of people who have run the Republic versions, it's exactly opposite. They come to Tython to kick the Empire out, and then they go to Korriban to attack it. So it's kind of funny how it flip-flops, and whatever, I don't really care that much. But the thing to keep in mind is that because the Empire attacked Tython is the reason why I really like this flashpoint in particular. What you'll see is that the area around this place is different than what Tython is. They didn't just take the same art assets and just plop them in. They took the same areas, and you'll recognize a lot of these areas if you've ever done the Tython missions with one of the Jedi, which is the starting area. So most of us have. But the thing that you'll recognize is kind of the scenery, except that it's dark and it's kind of foggy and a little rainy. I love it. I love how beautiful and dark it is, because you're like, this is an epic battle. This is something that is not good that's happening here, and we're being a part of it, and the whole scenery has changed. So it takes an area that you're so familiar with and changes it completely, and I really like that. I like that aspect of this flashpoint, and that was in fact the first positive thing I had to say about it. Right when I walked in, I was like, wow, this place looks awesome. I love it. I really like the look of it, and it's just amplified when you get further in. But you start off the flashpoint doing what we're doing here, which is you kind of go to these things and you click on them. It's like you go in a circle, you click on these things, and then you go work your way to the first boss. Nothing too special there. What is special is, like I said earlier, it is a tactical flashpoint. So that means it's going to scale. We're running 2 tanks and 2 healers, except one of our tanks, which is the assassin, is a DPS, but he wants to tank, which isn't a good thing because he has less health than our healer does, which is one of my healers for my raid team. And that's going to happen most of the time when we're running, the raids that we do. We get into flashpoints and we're just way out gearing things, and that's fine. But what you're seeing here is we're just kind of raffle stomping through things, so you could pretty much do that as a fresh level 55 as well. And that's cool because the place actually does drop decent gear for a fresh 55, and I like that. I like that a lot. I like that it's now an option to be able to do it, because let's be honest, Co-op Drive Yard's not really dropping any gear. It was super lame, and the fact that it only had one boss was super lame, but these are actual, like, real-time flashpoints, and it reminds me completely, and it brings me back to the whole mindset of the flashpoints that we got when the game launched, like the False Emperor and stuff like that. It was so good, right? Those flashpoints were really awesome, and the story was cool, and you just felt really engaged in those flashpoints. Well, I feel that again in this one. I haven't done the Korriban one yet. I hear it's not as good, and I hear it's quite buggy, so I won't be doing it quite yet. It may be quite a few days before I put out a video on that. I'm just waiting for it to be updated, so that way it's not so buggy. If this is the beta, things are, or not the beta, but the PTS, same thing, that things are subject to change, and I don't want to show something off on the channel that it's not quite there yet, you know what I mean? I could wait a week and then do the Korriban one and show you it in a much better state than what I'm hearing that it's in. So with that being said, we're going to move forward a bit here in the Flashpoint, and I'll show you what the first boss is like. So this is the first boss, and he's pretty easy. You know, I'm not expecting anything super difficult. I'm not expecting a raid boss out of this, but his basic mechanics are he will, you know, shoot the main tank, that whole thing. You know, it's kind of a tank and spank until 2 ads come out. But there, he does this AoE thing that you should stay out of. It doesn't really do a lot of damage. In most of this Flashpoint, when we were running it, we were testing how much damage we were actually taking. So in some cases, we're standing in things on purpose. In some cases, I'm just not paying attention. But what you're seeing here is it doesn't really do a whole lot of damage to someone who's geared out in all, you know, hard mode, Dread Palace, Dread Fortress gear, you know, 78. So that's to be expected, though. Then these 2 ads will pop out. You just burn them down real quick, except that the kicker is that he does like a lot of AoE. Now this AoE actually does kind of hurt that he does during this phase, so I would suggest moving out of it. It does do enough that it could potentially kill somebody if the healer, you know, is either running out of energy or whatnot. So you gotta watch yourself. But it'll just kind of keep going. It'll keep spawning ads. You'll keep having to go back and burn them down and then switch back to him and stay out of the AoEs and stuff like that. Pretty much a tank and spank. Nothing too glorious here. But it is a fun fight in the fact that it's different. You know, that was the first thing we said when we found it. We're like, this is actually fun because it's different. It has mechanics. It has boss mechanics that you can't just necessarily ignore. And it's kind of fun. You know, it's a simple boss, but it's fun, it's new, and it's fresh. And really, my whole gripe with the whole raids not, you know, coming out in so long is it's just that we haven't had a fresh boss in a while. We've been fighting the same bosses for, you know, 6 months, and that's not fun. If we had, you know, new bosses and raids, I'd feel the same way that I do here. It's like I go into this, I'm like, this is fun because these are new and I like doing this. 2 months down the line, I probably won't think that. Maybe 3 weeks down the line, I probably won't think that, but it is good. And it does drop some pretty cool loot. The gloves look kind of cool, new model there. All of that fun stuff. But let's move on to the next one. So this is the second boss in here. It's also quite easy, but it has some pretty fun mechanics too. So you have 2 droids that pop out. Obviously, you just kill the 2 droids and then you burn the boss. Now, the 2 droids have 2 different abilities they'll do. They have a conal knockback, so don't get knocked back because it's kind of annoying more than anything. It doesn't really do a lot of damage, it's just more annoying. And then the other thing that they'll do is they will randomly charge when they're getting low on life. They'll charge somebody and do a little explosion circle. So there'll be a circle around them, and then they will blow up and do a ton of damage. The damage on me wasn't that much. I think it was 4,000, and then on our healer Vubis, he was taking 5,000. That's people in 78. So imagine you were wearing 60 something. I'm sure you'd be taking like anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 in between there. So it's a pretty good estimate of the damage that it does. You could just move out of it very easily. But what he'll do when you go on him is he'll disappear once, you know, at a certain point, and then the ads will come and you burn the ads down and you rinse and repeat, and you just keep doing that over and over. It's not, like I said, it's not a complicated fight, but it has mechanics. It has things that you get to do in the fight, and I like that. I think it's fun. It's better than not doing anything at all and just, you know, tank and spank all the way through. I think game designers in MMOs for the past few years have been doing the whole idea when they release like new flashpoints, instances, whatever you want to call it, that they have, you know, a quick one where you do it like in 10 to 15 minutes max, you know, and you just blaze through it and you push through the bosses. But it's not necessarily that fun, is it? You want something that can keep you occupied for a while. And this may not keep me occupied for a few weeks, but it does keep other people occupied who are really into flashpoints and stuff like that. And it's a cool story arc leading up to what I assume is going to be the next expansion with whatever they're doing here, you know, having the Empire and the Republic attack each other. And it's just kind of fun. So it's a pretty easy boss, and, you know, at the end of the day, he doesn't really drop anything that great, but that's coming from somebody who's all geared out. So let's move on into the temple. So it was up until this part that I was kind of like, oh yeah, this flashpoint's kind of fun, it's okay. And then I got to this, and I was just like, it was almost an emotional connection with me. I was like, this is so good. Oh my gosh, I love this. It's because you walk into this temple that you're so familiar with, and it's sacked and destroyed, and Padawans are running at you, you know, vigorously to try to defend this place that the Empire is attacking. They're Padawans. They're not super strong people, and you're just slaughtering them. And it is this really powerful moment, and it reminded me so much of when the game was about to come out, and they put out that dang trailer, the sacking of Coruscant. It's just like this. That's what I felt like going into this, and there's a lot of power in that. There's a lot of, I guess, good memories with when the game was about to come out, and it did bring me back to that moment. I was like, yeah, I did want to be a part of the sacking of Coruscant, but obviously that happened before the game's timeline, and this is very similar to what that should have felt like, and I'm really happy to be, doing this kind of thing. It sucks to, obviously be killing Padawans, but they're just Jedi scum, so it doesn't really matter that much, right? Either way, it is really cool to go into this environment, particularly who is known, or what is known for being a very pretty place with, really cool Jedi stuff, to having it destroyed and having you just ransacking the place. Really cool. They did an incredibly good job at this part, and this part specifically is why I think the Flashpoint is the best one that they've added in an incredibly long time. But with that, we need to move on to the last boss, who is actually kind of really good. So this guy is basically just waiting for you, and you walk in and you start fighting him, and there's a little cutscene and everything, but I'm not going to show you that stuff because I don't want to spoil it for you. I want you guys to experience that for yourself if you want to. But for the most part, he seems like an easy fight, and then all of a sudden the mechanics start popping in, and it's kind of cool. So he'll run to these datacrons, he starts powering up on him, you just burn the datacron, he gets knocked back, you burn him down. But then he'll jump in the middle and he starts channeling this really cool ability that I want, this is a really cool ability where basically rocks just start flying everywhere, and you have to avoid the circles, so you just keep moving. But they do quite a bit of damage, and they can stack damage very quickly on you, so you gotta watch yourself. It's one of those things that you actually do have to move. I'm pretty sure most people won't be able just to stand there and take the damage unless you have some pretty major cooldowns, but it's pretty cool. I like it. I like the fight. I like the design of it, even though it's just a flashpoint fight. I wish that, the other two are a bit more as dynamic as this one, but it is the last boss in here, so you would expect it to be something a bit more extravagant compared to the other two. So I like it. They set the bar high for this one, and then the area that you're at is this basic, Jedi library, which is pretty cool, seeing it destroyed and everything as well. Really love it. Everything about this boss fight just brought back so many, really awesome memories within the game. Just playing for the past couple of years, I'm like, this is why I like Star Wars right here. This kind of stuff. Who cared about the Dreadmasters? I don't think anybody cared about the Dreadmasters. Yeah, they were big and powerful, and yeah, the Empire players let them out on Bill Savas, but who cares? It's all about the war between the Empire and the Republic. That's what we wanted to see for the longest time, and they're getting back to that, and I can't wait to see where this story goes further. But this is just one half of the new Flashpoints added into the game, and I do want to check out the other one. I do want to see the story for that one. When I get around to it, I will make a video for you guys, so that way you can check it out and see what's in store there. But it does give me a lot of hope for the story of the game. I think that they're going to go a really cool direction with it, and I think those of you who are planning on staying with Star Wars for a very long time will really enjoy where it goes. But with that being said, that was a really freaking fun fight. They did a good job on this dang boss. I'm going to avoid any more spoilers. You can see the pet that dropped, which was really cool. And yeah, it's a new model and everything. But with that, we shall see you guys next time.